Okay, so this was the oven that we built and learned a lot from that. You can see the tape that I used was not rated for the temperature that the oven got up to, which was about 418 degrees in total. You can see the box is actually starting to melt a little bit. So I'm gonna have to rebuild this. I have another box handy. I'm gonna do the same thing. It did a little better down on the bottom than on the top, but there was a lot of heat coming out right there. So lesson learned, know your product and know what the heat capacity is. This stuff will stick to 200 degrees, but it's not rated for that high of a temperature. This stuff, on the other hand, is rated to 600 degrees. So we're gonna use that today, as well as some heavy duty, wide and narrow Reynolds wrap. So we're gonna start with the standard box, just like this. It's the exact same size as the other one. This box is kind of interesting because it has these extra folds in it that you can resize the box. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take off all of the tape and any address labels, and then you're going to want to use the heat resistant tape to retape the seams. This costs like $8 and there is 15 feet in here. Okay, so I got all the tape off. I replaced it with some foil tape there. I went ahead and cut off part of the flap here, and the next step is going to be to fold this down and have it look like that. Now on the sides it's a little trickier because you're going to want to keep a middle support section where we're going to put the rack in. Okay, so I folded everything over, make it a little thicker, and then I've traced out now the top and bottom, which I will now cut out. So I've taped all the flaps into place now, strengthened them, and I'm just going to put a little more tape on it, and then I'll install the 3 racks. So these are the racks from the old oven. It's just a piece of metal, and I would not use coat hangers or shirt hangers because they typically have vinyl on them and the vinyl will melt. So get yourself some plain raw steel rod. Okay, so you can see the rod ends here. They're mostly level, and they come out the other side. You just have to bend them down with a pair of pliers. So it's now ready to be wrapped. Just double check to make sure your openings, the one at the bottom for your pan which your briquettes go in, and the one at the top, which is where you put your baked good, fit through that opening pretty good, because it's going to get a little narrower once you start to wrap it with foil. So here's the final product, just like the other one. Flap up top with the rack in there, flap down bottom where you can put your pan with your coals. I use the heavier gauge tape around the edges wherever the heat kind of is most intense. I also coated the box in this Flex Seal, Flex Fix. It seemed to hold up fine on the heat. That'll also keep moisture from getting on it. If you're at the Klondike and it's snowy outside, you could actually put this down in the snow. It should be okay. But this is it. It should hopefully hold up this time. So I wanted to talk real fast about box size when you're selecting the box for your Klondike oven. You want to make sure it's not too short. This one's only about 3 or 4 inches wide. Obviously this would not be a good box. This one's better. It's kind of oblong. The ones that probably are best shape would be something like a paper copier box. They also have a lid. I folded in the flaps on this one. But an alternative way to kind of cook this thing would be to lay out some pans, or in your fire ring, get your coals set up. You could put down a pan like this. You can put your baked goods in this here. You can wrap this in foil, right? So you'd wrap the interior and the sides and make sure it overlaps onto the edges. And then you could put this directly over the top, which is going to hold in your heat, right? So it would still work the same way. If you have a lid, you could put down the lid first, but this would be an alternative kind of box size shape and approach to cooking this if you didn't have a lid to put down on the ground.